In my previous life, I was not only the right-hand man of the female president, but also a stand-in for her white moonlight. After the white moonlight returned to the country, the female president wanted to break up with me. I didn't agree and finally ended up blind and with a broken leg. After learning that the person who saved me before was not her, and having repaid the wrong person's kindness, I chose to commit suicide. When I opened my eyes again, I found that I had been reborn. I was reborn on the day I was kept by the female president. On this day in my previous life, as an outstanding graduate of the school, I gave a speech on the stage. Luna and Serafina were sitting in the audience. After the speech, Luna's secretary gave me a business card and sincerely invited me to join the Lee Group with an annual salary of 500. I was tempted. But in this life, Luna had a condescending look and an unkind tone. Leo, I heard that you still owe loans. I'll give you an annual salary of 600. You follow me. 600. That's 100. More than in my previous life. Should I be extremely grateful then? Looking at Luna's self-righteous look, I smiled slightly and looked at Serafine and next to me. Sorry. This time, I choose to join the John Group. How much salary does Serafina offer me? Serafina was shocked, but still said calmly. 700. I stretched out my hand. Serafina. Pleasant cooperation. Before Luna left, she threw down a sentence. Leo, you will pay the price for your choice. I ignored her and led Serafina back to the audience. In my previous life, I chose Luna and loved her deeply. As her underground boyfriend, I worked like an ox and a horse for her company. In the end, I ended up blind and with a broken leg. And Luna's Lee Group successfully went public with my help. She married her white moonlight and lived happily ever after. Why? Serafina, the president of the John Group, is a close friend of Luna. They tell each other everything. Serafina saved me in a warehouse when I was young. Luna took the credit and threatened me with kindness, asking me to help her. I am not an ungrateful person, so I agreed and became a stand-in for her white moonlight. When I was in despair, Luna told me the truth. Finally, I chose to commit suicide. Reborn. I must make them pay the price. Just as I came out of the John Group, I ran to Luna head-on. Luna looked down at the work badge in my hand and sneered. A top student majoring in finance at a university. I didn't expect you to be an ungrateful person. I stopped in my tracks. What does Luna mean by this? Luna shook her head and sighed. The person who saved you in the warehouse back then was me. I raised an eyebrow slightly and glanced at her chest. Really? Back then, the girl who saved me was scratched on the chest by rubble and left a scar. Speaking of this, I paused and took 2 steps towards Luna, leaning close to her ear. I whispered, "Why doesn't Luna unbutton her shirt now to prove herself?" Luna's face darkened and she raised her hand to slap me. I took a step back. Luna, it's not appropriate to be with an employee of the John Group at the entrance of the John Group. Right? Luna was so angry that she laughed instead. After you are fired by the John Group, I won't let any enterprise take you in. At that time, you have no choice but to come and be my dog. Her tone suddenly changed and became extremely gentle. Of course, if you terminate the contract and follow me now, I will agree to any conditions that Serafina promised you. Only more, not less. After all, I really love you. In my previous life, Luna was like this too. First she gave me a slap, and then a sweet date. She trained me like a dog regardless of the occasion. In the past, I was happy to accept it. Now, I just find it disgusting. I refused, not hearing the answer she wanted. Luna sneered. You will regret it. After saying that, she walked into the John Group in her high heels. I didn't care at all. I was sure that Serafina wouldn't fire me. After I was blind, and had a broken leg in my previous life, Luna announced that if anyone dared to take me in, it would be opposing the Lee Group. When I was almost frozen to death on the street, It was Serafina who took me away. Since then, Serafina has been busy late into the night every day. Once when the secretary came to her house to look for materials, she complained in a low voice. If it weren't for Serafina taking in Leo, how could the John group be in such a situation? I'm so tired of working overtime every day. Only then did I know that Luna was so ruthless even to her good friend. When I proposed to Serafina that I wanted to leave, Serafina was puzzled. Luna has already abandoned you. You have nothing now. Going out is a dead end. I was unmoved. Why? Serafina keeping me here, isn't it just to watch my jokes? Serafina stopped talking, and I took it as her. Whenever Luna scolded me, Serafina was mostly present, watching coldly. I loved Luna so much that I blamed Serafina for all the mistakes. Since then, Serafina stopped talking to me and didn't let me go. But she came home later and later. I am not an unfeeling person. I know all the kindness Serafina has shown me. I also slowly let go of my prejudice against her. Later, I couldn't bear to see her so tired. So I called Luna and begged her to let the John group go. Luna's tone was full of schadenfreude. Leo, Serafina really has deep feelings for you. The John group is almost bankrupt but still refuses to throw you out. That one-sided crush when you were young really made her remember for so long. I held the phone tightly. It turned out that for so many years, I had recognized the wrong person. Luna laughed heartily on the other end of the phone while I was in a mess. When Luna was close to me, Serafina was there. When Luna humiliated me, Serafina was there. So Serafina's concern for me, I thought it was charity. I called her hypocritical and false. It turns out that as early as when I was 8 years old, she had saved me once. But how did I treat my savior? I snatched her investors and deliberately gave her false information. Thinking of these, my heart was full of regret. I called Serafina to let me go. Serafina told me not to think too much and hung up the phone immediately. As expected, after I recorded a message, I wheeled myself to the bathroom. The blood flowing from my wrist dyed the water in the bathtub red. Before dying, I sent the recording to Serafina. The only regret before dying was not knowing if Serafina had what I said to bring back the John group and defeat the Lee group. Even if she couldn't defeat it, it didn't matter. This time, I would help Serafina. Luna's good days are coming to an end. People in the company who have no work experience but became managers had complaints about me. Serafina wanted to explain for me, but I stopped her. With the memories of my previous life, Serafina and I won several big investments. Serafina trusted me very much. She invested in whatever land I said without any objection. The John group grew stronger. People's address to me also became Brother Lin. Looking at the annual salary that had increased by 100 Zaro, I thought of that considerable year-end bonus and grinned. In my previous life, I worked like an ox and a horse in the Lee group. Even though I got a lot of cooperation for the company, my salary was always 500 and there was no year-end bonus. In response to this, Luna's reply was that you are my boyfriend. What's mine is yours. Don't worry about it. I was so happy that I immediately took my meager savings and bought a 500 bag for Luna. But Luna only carried it once. After that, I never saw that bag again. Once I mentioned it accidentally. Luna said that the bag was too expensive and she had collected it. I believed it. But later I found that the bag appeared on her assistant's shoulder. Every penny I earned in the Lee group was spent on Luna. I was reluctant to customize a few suits that fit me but bought countless shoes, bags, and clothes for her even though she never wore them. Later, after the white moonlight, Jason returned to the country. In order to win Luna back, I gave her many expensive things, so that when I was down and out, I couldn't take out a penny. Now thinking about it, in my previous life, as Luna said, I was really hopelessly stupid. In this life, my money can only be spent on myself. I will live and die with my money. Today, Luna, who hadn't been seen for a long time, suddenly came to the John group. There was a commotion coming from Serafina's office. Most of it was Luna's voice. I asked the general assistant to drive away the onlookers and stood guard at the office door myself. Hearing a loud noise, I immediately pushed the door open and went in. In the office, it was a mess. When Luna saw me come in, she bent down and picked up a piece of glass. I thought she was going to attack Serafina. I quickly went up and pulled Serafina behind me. Seeing this, Luna curved her mouth. Holding a piece of glass in her left hand, she placed it on her right wrist. Leo, come here. Otherwise, I will cut it. As soon as I lifted my foot, Serafina behind me spoke. Don't go over. Who knows if she's crazy? I shook my head and continued walking. Can Luna be crazier than I am now? Watching me approach, Luna looked at Serafina provocatively. I grabbed Luna's left hand that was about to put down and pressed the glass piece on her wrist. Didn't you want to cut it? Cut it then. If you can't do it, I'll help you, Luna screamed. The triumphant look disappeared. Leo, are you crazy? I pressed the glass piece down again. Luna screamed wildly. Just like a screaming chicken. I felt like my eardrums were about to burst. The moment I released her hand, Luna threw the glass piece away and ran to the side. Taking deep breaths, I clicked my tongue. So boring. I bet Luna wouldn't dare to cut it. In my previous life, because the owner of the nail salon cut a small wound on her hand. The next day, the nail salon closed down. Luna was afraid of having a wound on her body because the white moonlight said that he liked her flawless appearance the most. Luna was afraid that I would go crazy again. After scolding a few words, she left. I turned my head and looked at Serafina. After finding that she was not injured, I started cleaning the office. There was no way. Have you ever seen a president clean her own office? In my previous life, I was used to it. In this life, I was even more proficient. Just as I was almost finished cleaning, Serafina suddenly spoke. Were you afraid that I would be bullied by her just now? My hand trembled and my voice was teasing. Isn't it? If something happened to Serafina, who would pay my salary? Serafina chuckled and didn't speak anymore. Since then, Luna has been quiet for a while. I saw Luna again at a business negotiation. This investor has always only cooperated with the Lee Group, and there is no need to come at all. But for some reason, Serafina must come and ask me to cooperate with her at that time. I wanted to refuse. But Serafina said she would give me 50,000 after it was over. There would be 50,000 yuan for attending a meeting. It would be stupid not to take it. During the tea break, Serafina asked me to feed her fruits and pass her drinks. I did as she asked. When I fed Serafina the first piece of fruit, Luna sitting opposite me grabbed the fruit on the plate and threw it over. I stood up and blocked in front of Serafina, looking at my clothes stained with fruit honey. I was a bit relieved. Fortunately, I wore a cheap one today. Otherwise, I would be heartbroken. The people beside saw it and didn't dare to speak. Joke. Luna is very crazy. Who dares to touch her bad luck? Serafina wiped her mouth. Let's go. We won't participate in the following activities. So, Serafina came here just to stimulate Luna? Am I also a part of their game? As soon as I got home, I received a text message. It was from Luna. Jing. Don't make trouble anymore. My patience is also limited. You can't afford the consequences. I immediately blocked her. And still say I can't afford the consequences. The next day, I received Luna's revenge. It was flowers. Luna sent me flowers every day. The name on the signature was King. After that, there were flowers sent every day. People in the company speculated one after another. Brother Lin has hooked up with which rich woman and received flowers every day. Every time I arranged work, I could receive cordial greetings from colleagues. It had already affected my work. I couldn't bear it anymore and dialed the phone. Luna's arrogance was still the same as before the phone was hung up. Luna, what on earth do you want? Jing, come back to me. I will not hold you accountable for what happened in the past. I found a place where no one was around. Come back to you. Interrupt your marriage with Jing? Luna's surprised voice rang out. Jing, you really came back like me. Right? You still care about me in your heart. Right? At this time, I just wanted to curse and call her an idiot. Things in the previous life should be settled in the previous life. We have no relationship anymore. Let me go. Jing, I was wrong. Jason deceived me. I don't love Jason anymore. I only love you. Trust me again. Jing, come back and help me. Without you, I have a hard time in the company. I sneered. As expected. Luna, this president, only has a title in vain. Although she has strength, it is not obvious. When she was still in office, Luna only knew how to have fun. After I went to the Lee group, Father Lee discovered my management ability and asked his secretary to take me. Later, Father Lee died of illness. It was me who helped Luna secure the position of president. But now Father Lee is still in good health. What does King's words mean? Has there been a butterfly effect? Luna, I will not help you again. You should take care of yourself. Just as I was about to hang up the phone, I heard Luna say, Jing, what happened after you died? I was moved. It was false to say I wasn't curious. I love gossip. Luna, pick me up after work. Let's talk. I really want to know. Forget it. Endure Luna once more. After eating the gossip, I will block her again. When I turned around, I saw Serafina's standing expression Leslie behind me. But her trembling hand betrayed her. Are you going to see Luna? So the information you told me in the previous life was also because you were angry with Luna? Could it be that Serafina was also reborn? Seeing that I didn't speak, Gongshu gave a self-deprecating smile. Yes. She is your savior. It's reasonable for you to help her. You can write your resignation report later. I will approve it immediately. After saying that, Serafina turned and was about to leave. Afraid of losing my job, I immediately rushed forward and grabbed Serafina and hurriedly explained. Serafina, it's not what you think. I made an appointment with her just to know what happened after I died in the previous life. You can just ask me directly. But I didn't know you were reborn. Serafina was so angry that she blamed her acting skills for being too good. In the office, Serafina made a phone call to Luna in front of me. Luna, Leo has something to do after work and won't go to your appointment. After saying that, she took me home. I looked at the layout of the house. In the previous life, I was brought back here by Serafina. Now, Serafina will tell me what happened after my death here. Fate is so damn clever. After my death, Serafina relied on what I said to make the Lee group give up retaliating against the Zhang group. As she said, Luna broke through the constraints of her family and married Jason. The two were in love for a while, but the two families have a feud. He is with her family. Jason used merging the Lee group as a bargaining chip to make a deal with his eldest sister. After success, he would be the general manager of the He group. If he failed, he would also promote the cooperation between the He and Lee families. Big sister he would make a profit, no matter what, and agree happily. After getting married, Jason gradually gained the right to speak in the Lee group and secretly bought shares. When Luna found out, it was already too late. In the end, the Lee group went bankrupt and was merged into the He group. Jason became the general manager. And Luna, who had nothing left, was also kicked out. Luna begged to get back together but was humiliated by Jason. But Jing told Luna that his sweetheart was someone else. Luna was unwilling to accept it. On Jason's second wedding day, she wanted to drive and crash into Jason but was hit and killed by a big truck. It was very satisfying. I asked Serafina, what about you? How did you come back? Serafina's face showed a trace of panic. I also. Serafina didn't want to say. I didn't force her. I just nodded. Serafina. Thank you for taking me in the previous life. Also. I always keep my word. I said I would choose the Zhang group and I won't change it. Serafina doesn't have to worry in the future. Serafina passed a glass of wine. Leo. In this life. I want the Li group to die. I took it and clinked glasses with her. Serafina. Pleasant cooperation. After reaching an agreement, my relationship with Serafina became even better. Luna's father was still seriously ill like in the previous life. After Luna took over the company, the stock price of the Li group fell. But Luna was not enterprising. Instead, she indulged in pleasure every day and was on the entertainment headlines. Until the shareholders of the company were dissatisfied, Luna began to block me at the Zhang group every now and then. In order to avoid her, I always asked Serafina to take me away. After a long time, Serafina and I became talkative. Just like today. In order to avoid Luna, I sat in Serafina's car again. To repay Serafina, I invited her to my house for dinner. Don't ask why not eat at a restaurant. If you ask, it's because I'm stingy. Eating at a restaurant costs tens of thousands of yuan. If I cook by myself, it won't cost that much in a month either. In the supermarket, when I was buying ingredients, I heard a familiar voice. Oh no. Luna has chased after me. Leo. After quickly saying cooperate with me, to Serafina, I turned and looked at Luna. Luna saw that my hand was around Serafina's waist and was very angry. Serafina. You are really shameless. You clearly know that I have always liked Leo. Yet you still seduce him. Seeing Serafina's face turn pale, I felt a bit guilty. After all, I had implicated her. So I retorted. Miss Li. Don't slander people. I was the one who actively pursued Ashu. This time, Luna's face turned pale. She shook her head wildly. Impossible. This is impossible. You clearly only loved me before and didn't even look at Serafina. No matter how I beat and scolded you, you only loved me. It's all Serafina's fault. You bitch. What on earth did you say to him? Luna wanted to go forward and pull Serafina, but I stopped her. Luna. If you want to see the news of the president of the Li group fighting with people in the supermarket tomorrow, just go ahead. You don't care about face. But you should care about the shares of the Li group, right? If the shares fall again, do you think the shareholders in the company will still tolerate you? Luna pointed at us and said. You are very good. I will make you pay the price. For a while after that, I didn't see Luna at the Zhang group. Life finally returned to normal. I breathed a sigh of relief. But Serafina seemed unhappy. But this is not something I, a secretary, should care about. As long as it doesn't affect my salary, I don't need to care about the boss's mood. A month later, Jason returned to the country. He came back earlier than in the previous life. The He family held a banquet. I was also on the invitation list. There was no other reason. Because I just negotiated the cooperation between the Zhang group and the He group. Jason's sister He Lu admired me very much. When I was eating desserts voraciously, Jason came over. Secretary Lin. I've heard a lot about you. Nice to meet you. Raising a wine glass. Young Master He. Nice to meet you. The two of us were talking with fake smiles. In Luna's eyes, it became me provoking Jason for her. Luna walked over gracefully. Leo. I warn you. Show some respect to Jing. When Jason saw Luna's attitude towards me, there was a hint of smugness on his face. He took the initiative to hold Luna's hand and the two left hand in hand. When passing by me, Jason whispered, a stand-in is justice, and in. As soon as I came back, Luna only had eyes for me. I was a bit speechless. Please lock yourselves up, okay? In this life, I just want to earn 5 million, and then retire gracefully. Luna is really stupid. In the previous life, she was driven to bankruptcy by Jason. In this life, she still trusts him so much. No wonder the Lee Group will go bankrupt. I don't know what method Jason used to make Luna so devoted to him. Is it the power of love? And next day, there were constant messages in the company's chat group. I took a look. It turned out that the popular actress Li Yao was exposed to having multiple boyfriends at the same time. One of her boyfriends is exactly Jason. I raised my eyebrows and sent a message to Jiangshu, asking her the name of Jason's sweetheart. It was really this Li Yao. Luna's jealousy was still as strong as ever. In the previous life, she humiliated me in front of Serafina. In this life, without me, she went to harm others. I turned off my phone and worked. Making money makes me happy. When Luna was on a sweet date with Jason, Serafina and I snatched her investor. When Luna was jealous of Jason, Serafina and I entered other industries. When Luna and Jason were having a passionate time, Serafina and I bought shares from the shareholders of the Lee Group. Luna was completely unaware of this. When Jason begged Luna to let him go to the Lee Group to help her, Luna was indecisive. After I knew about it, I joined forces with Serafina and secretly colluded with the shareholders of the Lee Group to force Luna to let Jason become the deputy general manager of the Lee Group. Jason got what he wanted and became even more obedient to Luna. Luna was very pleased. Perhaps God couldn't stand me being so smooth and sent Luna to disgust me. In the coffee shop, I ran into Luna head-on. Leo, I heard that now Serafina has a big disagreement with you? Your plans have all been rejected. Tell me, if you had followed me earlier, wouldn't there be none of these things now? I was like a deflated balloon but still didn't pay attention to Luna. Luna thought she had seen through the truth and laughed triumphantly. What should I do? Leo? Jing is now in the company to help me. The Lee Group is about to return to its peak. You are useless to me now. But if you kneel down and beg me, I might soften my heart and take you in. After Luna finished speaking, she laughed loudly and left. And I also laughed. These are all traps set by me and Serafina. The disagreement is false and the return of the Lee Group to its peak is also false. Jason replaced the finance department with his own people. He has been busy transferring the property of the Lee Group recently. In order to divert Luna's attention, I deliberately staged a scene of discord with Serafina and secretly gave resources to Li Yao. Just this matter of Li Yao is enough to annoy Luna. Luna watched the person who was originally pushed to the bottom now having resources again, mistakenly thinking that Jason was secretly helping her. She made a fuss with Jason. In the past, Jason always coaxed her in a low voice, but this time he ignored her. At first, Luna vowed firmly, in less than 2 days, Jason will definitely come back to me. But Luna waited for a week in Jace and didn't look for her. Luna began to panic. Looking at the message Li Yao sent me, I was overjoyed. When Li Yao was slandered and smeared by Luna, Jason didn't dare to say a word. Li Yao had already given up on him. After I gave her resources, she turned to my side and passed on messages about Luna and Jason to me. At this time, Jason had almost transferred the property. He began to be tough. He asked Luna to give him a general manager position. Otherwise, he wouldn't forgive Luna. Luna was a bit hesitant. The appointment of the general manager has to be decided by the shareholders. Q Inger, I know you can definitely help me overcome all difficulties. Right? I left the He Group for you. Now I only have you. When Luna heard this, she was moved to tears. She vowed to get the general manager position for Jason. I sent a message to the shareholders on the surface and asked them to agree to Luna's request, because it wasn't time for Jason to step down yet. On the night Jason became the general manager, Luna held a banquet for him. For a while, Jason was extremely popular. Serafina and I also received invitations. I was alone in the corner eating desserts again. But this time it wasn't Jason who came but Luna. She didn't seem as glorious as in the previous life, but she still had an arrogant look. Leo, without you, The Lee Group can still operate. Jing has helped me a lot in this life. After saying that, Luna's affectionate gaze fell on Jason not far away. Jason seemed to sense it and raised his glass in our direction. I countered. Luna. At this time in the previous life, the Lee Group should have been preparing for an IPO. What about this life? Isn't the stock price still falling? After saying that, I was about to take out my phone to check. Luna wasn't angry either. Leo. Don't be complacent. The Zhang Group's development momentum is indeed strong now. But the Lee Group is not. Yes. 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 It's not bad. Your boyfriend has transferred most of the property of your company. It's still not bad. Who gave you the courage to say that? I didn't want to pay attention to her anymore. Just as I was about to leave, Luna continued. I'm going to propose to Jason. What do you think? How much carat diamond ring would be suitable? I said impatiently. Buy a pigeon egg-sized one. Only this can match Luna's temperament. Luna mistakenly thought I was jealous. She reached out and touched my eyes. Leo. I really like your eyes. If you had agreed to me when you graduated, now it would be me buying a pigeon egg-sized diamond ring and proposing to you. I got goosebumps from her touch. No need. Thank you. Luna withdrew her hand and looked behind me. Her tone was affectionate. You can come to me whenever you regret it. I will always reserve a place for you by my side. I turned and left. It was so disgusting. But unexpectedly, as soon as I turned around, I saw Serafina standing behind me. My heart tightened. I didn't know how much she had seen. I hope she didn't see Luna touching my eyes. Zhang. Serafina. Serafina nodded and didn't speak. I looked at the desserts beside me. There happened to be a mango millefeuille that Serafina liked. I picked it up and handed it to her. Then I raised my hand and swore. Serafina. I haven't betrayed the Zhang Group. Serafina said and didn't speak anymore. Just as I was about to slip away, I heard a sentence. If you leave, there will be no year-end bonus. I immediately stopped. I nodded and bowed to Serafina. What else can I do for you? Joke. You can't joke about anything but the year-end bonus. This year I negotiated so many cooperations. There must be at least 6 or 700,000 in year-end bonus. If there is no year-end bonus, my resentment will be so great that it can feed the ghosts in the underworld. Seeing this, Luna started the mocking mode again. Leo. I told you to follow me earlier. You are being intimidated by this little money. Afraid that the year-end bonus would disappear again. I said angrily. Do I need to remind you? You seem to have never given me a year-end bonus before. After working hard for the Lee Group for so many years, my salary has never increased. Luna's face flushed red and she left guiltily. I breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, she left. Luna was frustrated with me and went to vent her anger on someone else. She found Li Yao Yao. Luna invited Li Yao Yao to sing at the banquet. The other party wanted to refuse, but because the price was too high, the agent accepted it privately. Li Yao Yao was forced to come to the banquet. As soon as Li Yao Yao stepped down, Luna a glass of wine on her. Don't think about people you shouldn't think about. Jason stood aside and watched coldly as Li Yao Yao was. Serafina couldn't stand it anymore. She pulled Li Yao Yao and left the banquet. I also followed. After this banquet, Jason became even more arrogant. I secretly collected evidence and planned to catch him off guard when he negotiated with He Lu. 2 months later, in the office of the He Group, received a tip-off. Mr. Jason is suspected of being involved in financial fraud. Please come with us. Just a second ago, Jason was still discussing chips with He Lu arrogantly. The next second, he was taken away by the police. Yes. The informant in the mouth of the police is me. Luna, who learned the news, rushed to the police station to bail him out. In Jason's evasive gaze, the police told her that Jason colluded with the finance department of the Lee Group to cook the books and transfer all the property of the Lee Group. This news was like a bolt from the blue and stunned Luna. Serafina brought me. I brought a lawyer. The three of us walked out with the aura of 30 people. Luna's secretary saw us coming and didn't know why. I asked her to call Luna. The Lee group was about to change. In the conference room, there was no tense atmosphere between us and the shareholders of the Lee group. Instead, it was harmonious. As soon as Luna came back, she saw such a scene. The shareholders thanked us for offering a price higher than the market price. We said they were straightforward. After all, at that time, the Lee Group's stock price was only falling. What are you doing? As Luna's voice rang out, the noise in the conference room gradually disappeared. Luna, here's the thing. Today's shareholders' meeting is to change the president of the Lee Group, Luna said coldly. What stance does the Zhang Group take to attend the shareholders' meeting of the Lee Group? Today we are not here as the Zhang Group. Now you, Luna, hold 49 of the shares of the Lee Group, and Serafina and I hold 16 of the shares respectively. As soon as the words fell, Luna pointed at the shareholders' noses and scolded. The Lee Group has supported you all for so many years. Is this how you treat the Lee Group? The shareholders looked disdainful and turned the tables. Since old Luna left, the glory of the Lee Group is no longer as it used to be. But you, Luna, are not enterprising. Instead, you bring disasters to the Lee Group. Jason secretly transferred the property of the Lee Group and caused the Lee Group to face bankruptcy. At this point, the shareholder paused and continued. Or is all this arranged by you? The disaster came out of nowhere. Luna was furious. Don't slander me. In my previous life, I was slandered by the Lee family and Jason. Luna insisted that everything was done by me. I couldn't defend myself. Luna, it's your turn to taste being slandered in this life. I knocked on the table to signal them to be quiet. Now, I recommend Serafina as the president of the Lee Group. Serafina raised her hand. I agree. Only Luna refused. You are all plotting against me one by one. In the conference room, no one answered. Luna slammed the door and left. The next second, the conference room became harmonious again. Congratulations, Serafina. After the Lee Group declares bankruptcy and is merged into the Zhang Group, the Zhang Group will definitely reach a new level. Thanks to everyone's help. Without you, there would be no Serafina today. Finally, Serafina and I looked at each other and smiled. We opened champagne to celebrate that night. After merging the Lee Group, I became busier and busier. So busy that I almost forgot about Luna. One day after work, just as my car drove out of the garage, I saw a person blocking my car. It was Luna. Luna was much haggard. Her originally delicate and jet black hair became yellow and withered. There were dark circles under her eyes. Luna said that the Lee family had driven her out. All her things had been sold to pay off debts. Now she had nothing. She begged me to take her in. I stood in front of her. Luna, why don't you go find Jason? Luna smiled charmingly. Jason is in prison. He was sentenced to 7 years. Leo. Jing. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Save me. The place I live now is dilapidated and smelly. I really can't stand it. I remember that you are not in debt now. But all my savings are gone. I was really angry and laughed. Young lady, money doesn't fall from the sky. If you don't have money, go earn it. Making money by working and supporting yourself is not shameful. Now you just don't have savings. In my previous life, I lost my eyes and legs. Did I ever beg you to take me in? The only time I begged you in my previous life was to let you spare the Zhang Group. But how did you treat me? Luna shook her head and cried and said she was wrong. I was about to drive away but she kept blocking in front of me. I turned and went back to the company. Since I couldn't leave, then I'll work overtime. There's still work left unfinished. Luna wanted to catch up but was stopped by the security guard. Finally, I got rid of her. As soon as I got to my workstation, I found Serafina looking down while holding a cup. I leaned over and looked down. I could just see the place where I was talking to Luna. Fortunately, Luna is down now. Otherwise, my year-end bonus would be gone again. Serafina suddenly spoke. Leo, I remember you said that you would retire when you saved 5 million. What about now? I was silent. Silence was not thinking about how to answer but counting how many zeros were in my bank card. As I counted, I began to panic. No, where's my money? Where's my 4 million? I started looking through the contracts in my phone. Finally, I breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it turned out that I used it to buy a house and do renovations. After reading the contract, I smiled obsequiously at Serafina. Serafina, now that our company has become bigger and stronger, can my annual salary be increased a bit? I stretched out my hand and gestured a little. Serafina sneered. Dream on. I was a bit desperate. Serafina finished drinking the water in the cup and walked out. I looked at her with expectation, hoping she would turn around and hoping she could take me with her because Luna was still waiting for me at the company gate. Serafina didn't look back. Leo, aren't you leaving? Do you want to stay overnight at the company? I cheered, grabbed my phone and ran towards Serafina. I will never forget your great kindness. Suddenly, Serafina's hand rested on mine as I was about to turn off the light and pressed closer step by step. Don't turn off the light. I'll ask the security guard to come up and turn it off later. You don't want Luna to know that you are going home. Do you? I was cornered by John and only felt that Serafina was a bit strange now. You know, in this life and the previous life, I have helped you several times. Since you have nothing to repay my great kindness, how about repaying with your body? This time I was completely stunned. In the previous life, when I knew her feelings for me, it was already when I had deeply hurt her. In this life, I have never dared to mention emotional matters. I am afraid that there will be a rift in her heart. After saying it, it will be difficult to maintain even our current relationship. Serafina seemed to understand my look. In this life and the previous life, no matter how much I have done for you, it's not so easy for me to let go. I inform you that we are officially in a relationship. Your salary and year-end bonus will be transferred to my card.